Bonds are the boring alternative to the market, but for 15 years they paid very, very little. So money flowed into stocks, real estate, etc. Now bonds pay 4%, and Kevin Walsh is the only guy who can cut down that 4%. And he's just said, no, I'm not doing it. Which, by the way, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily disagree with what he's doing. I think that cutting interest rates right now is probably a bad move for the economy and for people. But anyway, you might be thinking, fine, but he'll fold eventually. They always fold. The Fed always folds. But it's not that easy for good old Kevin, or should I say bad old Kevin. Inflation is pretty high right now. I mean, historically speaking, pretty high. So if he cuts rates, that makes the inflation problem worse. Because cutting rates means more people end up borrowing money because it's cheaper to borrow, which means more people have money to spend, which drives prices up and makes inflation worse. Then you end up with a repeat of America in the 1970s, and no one wants that. That was a bad decade for America. All right, so instead, he holds rates. Problem solved. All good. No, because of that 40 trillion of debt that America has. I talk about this all the time, but real quick, America has a lot of debt. They pay 1 trillion per year in interest on that debt. If you raise interest rates, that 1 trillion becomes 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion per year in interest, and America gets bankrupt eventually. They can't afford to pay that. No one can. Well, I mean, America is the biggest fish in the pond, and they can't afford to pay it, so obviously no one can. Anyway, this also happens if you hold rates steady. Why? Because a lot of debt that was taken at a very low interest rate, let's say 1% by America, when it comes time to refinance, it's refinanced at that new rate, let's say 4%. You see, the problem is that both roads end in the same place. He can't raise rates because he bankrupts America. He can't lower rates because he bankrupts you through inflation. And he probably preferred to bankrupt you, let's be honest. Quick thing before you go, I've written a free guide called How to Retire Before 2036. It's a full 10-year plan for anyone starting late. Get out of debt, invest properly, retire on time. Free download, link in the description.